Hi everybody, I'm Paul Valle, and this is the Payoff Pitch. And unless you've been living under a rock or the nor'easter outside knocked out your cable and Wi-Fi, then you probably know why I'm doing another episode tonight. And that's because the Orioles went out and they finally signed a legitimate starting pitcher to a noteworthy deal. Yes, I think Andrew Cashner is a legitimate pitcher, but this guy is above and beyond. We're talking about Alex Cobb and his sterling 3.50 career ERA, pitching exclusively in the American League East. We're talking about Alex Cobb and his 1.217 whip and his 48 and 35 career record over 115 starts, again pitching exclusively in the American League East. Now the Orioles can finally go into the season and have their fans believing they're a playoff contender. They have arguably their best starting staff in the last 2 decades on opening day. Now, I say that with a grain of salt because nobody's going to mistake any of these guys for a Mike Mussina in his prime. But that staff had 4 starters who made 30 or more starts and won 10 games or more. The Orioles have that potential with the rotation that they have right now. You look at what this team could potentially do. And Dylan Bundy, he can take that next step forward. If Kevin Gausman can pitch 2 halves of a season instead of just the second half, if Andrew Cashner can build on the success he had last year after 2 down years the previous 2 seasons, if Tillman can get back to being the guy he was the previous 5 years before that debacle of 2017, and if Alex Cobb just goes out and does what he's done his entire career, it's not hard to imagine that this staff ERA can improve by a run and a half, maybe 2 runs. Now again, those are lofty goals, but these are all things that can happen if this team pitches the way that they can. Now, we all know that things happen. It's rare that you have 4 or 5 starters in your rotation to make 30 starts. There are guys who are going to step forward. There are guys who are going to take a step back. Hopefully, the numbers don't alter too much and they can pitch more to their career norms in all facets. And if that happens, the Orioles, with their offense, with their bullpen, with their defense, to go along with that pretty competitive starting rotation now, they can go out there and they can compete for a wild card. Now, there are a lot of teams out there that got better. The team that comes to mind first that's not in the Orioles' own division is the Angels. They have Upton, they have Ian Kinsler, Zach Cozart, Andrelton Simmons, and that's before I even name Mike Trout and Albert Pujols, and that's before we talk about Shohei Ohtani. Now, me personally, I don't think that guy's going to be as good to start as everybody else does. He'll be good eventually, but I think his spring training struggles are just, a glimpse at how there's going to be growing pains going from, an international league to playing in the major leagues. That's basically going from Double-A to the major leagues. He's going to have some growing pains. But still, that team is improved. The Minnesota Twins, look, they were one of 5 teams that were above 500 in the American League. Yeah, all 5 of those teams made the playoffs because they were the only 5 teams above 500. Do I think that the Twins are a good ball club? Do I think they're improved? Yeah, of course. Ervin Santana had a great year, and while he's going to miss the first month of the season, he's still going to potentially come back and be a rock-solid starter for them. They went in and they picked up Jake Odorizzi. They picked up Lance Lynn. Barrios is going to take that next step, and he was really good last year for them, winning 14 games with a sub-4. The Twins are a good ball club. I don't know that I can sit here and tell you that I think that they're better than the Orioles. I think the Orioles are better offensively. I think that now that their rotation is set, they can compete with the rotation, and I think the Orioles bullpen is better. I think the Orioles are better than the Toronto Blue Jays. I think their offense is better. I think their bullpen is better. The only thing that Toronto may have over the Orioles is they have a really good starting rotation that took a bit of a step back last year, but they're still a really good starting staff. I don't think that, the Cobb signing and the Cashner and Tillman pacts mean that the Orioles can compete for the American League East. I still think that the Red Sox and the Yankees are the cream of the crop in that division. They're 2 of the best teams in all of baseball, and the Orioles are going to be looking up at them all year. Now, if the Orioles get off to a hot start, they can maybe pick up a little bit of the ground, but over the course of 162 games, you show who you are, and so I think that, the Orioles, their best bet is to try and get that second wild card and hope that they can win a game against either Boston or New York, in Boston or New York. Again, a lofty goal, but something that is much more reasonable to think about and think could happen today than it was, beginning of February, even, 3 or 4 days ago. Really excited about this move. I think that it just makes the Orioles that much better. And I think more so than anything else, it shows the fan base that this team is trying to contend, that they're not just blowing smoke up our butts. I've been outspoken all off season and all spring training that this team isn't complete. I still think that they have a hole in right field. I'm not totally sold on Colby Rasmus yet, but I can live with Colby Rasmus when I have that starting rotation, and when I have guys like Manny Machado, Jonathan Scope, and Trey Mancini hitting in the middle of the order, not to mention Adam Jones. This is a good baseball team that now is going to be in it all year. I mean, when you think about the fact that the Orioles, with last year's wretched pitching staff, again, 570 starting rotation ERA last year, on September 5th, they were a game out of the wild card. Now, of course, they went 4-19 to finish the season, but at the beginning of September, this team was a game out of a playoff spot with that bad of a rotation. They now have a solid rotation. They could win 85 to 90 games and be really in the middle of the playoff picture the entire season. It's a good day to be a Baltimore Orioles fan. It's a good day to be a Baltimore Orioles journalist. Baltimore, we have something to be excited about. Opening day is now just a week away. Let's go, O's. Let's get going. Let's get ready to make a run at this thing. See if we can't get back to the playoffs and put 2017 behind us. Thanks for watching. Keep following me at Paul Valle III on Twitter. Keep reading my content over at UtahStreetReport.com. Of course, this Alex Cobb deal made me write a couple of pieces last night, so producing content at a pretty high pace right now. You keep reading, you keep watching, I'll keep producing. Until then, until next time, as always, go O's. Thanks for watching.